and welcome to our Thursday evening Parent Academy webinar session. Thank you for joining, and again, we're excited to have you as audience listeners and participants. I am Tina Foston Hayes, the Parent Academy Specialist for Educational Equity and Outreach for the Alachua County Public Schools, and I welcome you this evening. Tonight, we will receive some helpful information from Mr. Bill Goodman, and the topic tonight will be on FAFSA and financial aid. But just before we begin, I would like to go over a few housekeeping elements. Please keep your microphones on mute through the duration of the presentation, and we will be monitoring your questions accordingly. Please use the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your webinar window, and please note, all Parent Academy webinars are closed captioned, recorded, and posted to our website to access at a later date or re-review, or for any individuals who could not tune in live tonight. Your questions will be answered at the conclusion of each session. If there is a need for any personal conversation, the email for the Parent Academy is parentacademy@gm.sbac.edu. And we will get to those questions or your requests for additional information forwarded to the correct Alachua County Public School personnel or community member. And now, without further ado, I would like to present to you our guest speaker for this evening, Mr. Goodman. Hi, Mr. Goodman.
Hello, how are you? It's
Wonderful.
an honor to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about college admissions and financial aid. Just so everybody knows, I've been doing this for 42 years as a high school counselor, as the head of student services for the Alachua County School Board, and in retirement the last 10 years as a volunteer. And so I'm hoping through this program that if I can be of any assistance to you at all, that you'll call on me for help. So if we could move on to the next slide. So everybody, this is my name. A little bit about me. I'm also on the Education Foundation of Alachua County Board. So I'm, part of helping students through the Education Foundation to acquire scholarships. Typically, it's in the month of January. But I just want you to know I've been helping students, seniors in particular, apply for college financial aid for 42 years. So I'm very familiar with federal and state financial aid laws and requirements, and I'm a good person to contact, particularly if you are either a high school senior or you're a family with special life circumstances. And when I say that, I'm really talking about students who are first generation college going. And just so you know, first generation college going means that mom and dad never received a bachelor's degree. They could have gone to college, but if they never received a bachelor's degree, the student is actually a first generation college going student. Other students with special life circumstances that I like to help are students who are growing up in either low or moderate income families, students who are independent and self-supporting, students who do not live with their parents, or a student who has attended high school in Alachua County but is a non-citizen. All of those special life circumstances, I am a wonderful person to contact because I know all the federal and state laws related to that. The only other special circumstance that I'd like, life circumstance I'd like to mention is when we get to talking about the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, that has to be completed with the parent 1040 tax form from the previous spring. So if a student is in a household that in 2022 made a lot more money than the household is making in 2023, I'm also a very good person for you to contact, because there is a way for financial aid offices to provide you with financial support because of that special situation. I do want you to be aware that if you're a senior on free or reduced lunch, completing the free application for federal student aid or FAFSA every year you're in college, and completing the Florida Financial Aid Application or FFAA during your senior year can generate thousands of dollars in free money for you each year that you're in college. Okay. Every senior and their parent should complete a federal student aid ID, which is also known as an FSA ID, and password, and the Florida Financial Aid application in early October this year, if possible. And then this year is a unique year because the FAFSA application is being redesigned. It's actually going to be shorter than in the past. Normally, it opens up October 1st, but this year it will be opening up probably in mid-December or early January. So, I would encourage you, particularly in the month of December, to begin to check to see if it has opened up. You are welcome to email me or call me or text me for a specific date once it comes up. Most colleges use the income information as well from the FAFSA to assess what your family's and what the student's financial need is. So really, one of the most important applications to do is that that free application for federal student aid or FAFSA application. On the bottom of this slide is my cell phone number. And if I can help you in any way, if you call, please leave a message. If for some reason you're not able to, please send me a text. And if you would prefer, you can send me an email. Okay. If you would like a copy of this presentation emailed to you, then you want to write down my email right now, if you can, and send me an email. I'm happy to send you the PowerPoint presentation so you'll have access to it at home. Okay, let's go on to the next. These are the topics that I'm going to be covering this evening. I'm going to be talking about college admissions, how to make college affordable, different types of college financial aid, primary sources of college financial aid for Alachua County seniors, what scholarship readers look for in a scholarship essay. And just so you know, that's something I can also help students with as well. Once upon a time, I was a reader for the University of Florida. And today, actually for the last 30 years, I've been a scholarship essay reader for the Education Foundation of Alachua County. So I have lots of experience in what readers are actually looking for. And then the last thing that I'll be covering this evening is steps for completing a federal and state financial aid application, which is the FAFSA and the Florida Financial Aid application. Okay. I'm going to start by talking about college admissions, and the very first statement I'm making is very important. No college financial aid office and no financial aid can be processed without you applying for admission to a college. So, particularly if you are a high school senior, you want to apply for admission to several colleges in the month of September or early October to maximize your admissions chance and your financial aid opportunities. Okay. You also want to be aware that public universities in Florida, most have a priority deadline for admission and financial aid. The priority deadline for admission for schools like the University of Florida is November 1st. So if you really want to be given priority for admission, you want to make sure you complete an admissions application prior to November 1st for a lot of the colleges in Florida. You can find out what the priority deadline is for any university in Florida by typing in the name of the university and the words priority deadline, and it should come up on Google for you. Most colleges, just so you know, require that you send them a certified transcript with your high school courses, GPA, ACT, SAT, CLT test scores as part of the admissions process. Every time your transcript is updated, you should be sending a new copy to the admissions offices. So second semester of your senior year, you should be sending an updated transcript. At the end of the year, you should be sending a final transcript after you graduate. And that final transcript, and we'll be covering this in a minute, but that final transcript should also be sent by your high school counseling office to the Office of Student Financial Assistance in Tallahassee, because that transcript, final transcript, is required for you to be considered for state scholarships and grants. And then finally, the last statement I'm going to make here quickly about admission is I want you to be aware that in order to get in-state tuition, almost every college requires you to complete the Florida Residency Declaration application. Some of them have now incorporated it into their admissions applications, but if they have not, then you want to make sure that you complete that application. It's parent and student information, and that it gets sent to that college or university that you are trying to be admitted to. Okay, we're going on to the next slide. One of the other statements that I just want to make, and some of this is now I'm talking to high school juniors and seniors. As a high school junior, first semester of your junior year, you want to spend time with either an ACT or SAT prep book or an online prep program, and really familiarize yourself with the test. Get assistance with test items that you don't know how to do before you take the test. And then the ACT and SAT should be taken the first time, second semester of your junior year. If you do not score high enough on it to be eligible for admission to a particular university you'd like to go to, or if you didn't score high enough to demonstrate college readiness, then you will want to make sure that you sign up for the August and September or October ACT and SAT tests in your senior year, because those test scores are used as part of what a college when they're assessing college readiness. Those are test scores that are part of that process. In a minute, I'm going to be talking to you about the state university system matrix, which is actually has both the test scores and the GPA that was used by every public university in Florida last year for admissions. So if you're thinking of applying an example to the University of Florida, you should know it's the toughest university in Florida to get into. You should know what the GPA was and what the test scores were for the freshmen that were actually accepted and admitted. And then, the other reason to get the ACT and SAT test done your second semester of your junior year, and or retaking it in August, September, October of your senior year is that those test scores are also used to determine eligibility for Bright Futures and other state scholarships, along with the student's GPA. So you'll want to have a good idea of what the requirements are for state scholarships as well. And we'll be covering that in a couple minutes. Next slide. One of the things that students and parents often don't know about is there is now a college admissions application that's used by lots of colleges around the country called the Common App. And the advantage of filling out the Common App is that it will save you time and money if you go that route. The Common App asks a lot of general information, academic information about the student and the parent. And it also has an essay that the student needs to complete. If you scroll down for me to the next slide. If you were to Google Common App essay prompts 2023-24, you're going to notice that 7 essay prompts come up. You want to look over those if you decide to go the Common App route and pick one that you can really write a great essay on that topic. So it's important to look over all of them and decide which one is really a good fit for you as the student. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. This is a really, really important document. The State University System SUS Matrix. If you take a look at it, particularly if you look at the GPA, well, you can look at it for both the summer and the fall semester. It's a weighted GPA that you should know. But if you look at the GPA and then the SAT and ACT test scores, that will give you an idea of what GPA you have to have and what test scores you have to be a good candidate for admission to each of the state of Florida public universities. You'll notice if you look at this, the University of Florida obviously has the highest standards for getting in. Last year, to get in the fall, the students who were admitted actually had between a 4.4 and a 4.6 weighted GPA, and between a 1370 and 1510 SAT score, and between a 31 and 34 ACT score. So again, it's important if you email me for this PowerPoint presentation to really look at what public universities in Florida you have a good chance of being admitted to. Go on to the next slide. One of the most important things I can say to you tonight is that college can be affordable. That, what I'm going to talk about is how to save money, make college as affordable as possible, lower college debts. First thing I'm going to say to you is public colleges cost less than private colleges. So if you're really looking to go to college with as little debt as possible, that's one of the places to start looking. The second is in-state public colleges cost less than out-of-state colleges. The third thing that's on here is that, a lot of students, once they realize that they can save them and their family about $15,000 a year if they go to college and they actually live at home for the first couple of years. There's a big savings in housing and food costs if students can do that. Second, and we mentioned it a minute ago, students want to complete the Florida residency application with their parent because that gets them in-state tuition, which is significantly less than out-of-state costs for students. It's also important prior to you going to college, if you really want to save money, to have a very good idea of what you want to major in the college setting. If you don't know what you want to major in, then I would recommend that you consider going to a website. You can Google it, called America's Career Infonet. Click on most openings, and then it will, have different degrees that are there. And basically, you'll get to see what the high demand, high wage career majors are in the United States right now. If you're going to pay for college, you want to make sure that once you graduate, that you have a big opportunity to get the job that you'd like to have. One other comment that I'm going to make about selecting a college major is many students and parents are unaware of the fact that there are now a lot of 2-year associate degrees that pay students, start paying students $60,000-$70,000 a year for that particular degree. It's stuff like cardiopulmonary sonography. There's a number of areas in the health sciences and computer science and in business that actually pay really well for students who have gotten a 2 or 3 year associate degree. So what I would recommend to you is one of the great sites to go to is if you get on Google and you type in Santa Fe College programs of study, and then just pick the particular degree that you would like to look at, you're going to get a list of high demand job openings that are out there, and basically what they are paying right now. I think you'll be surprised that there are a lot of 2 and 3 year associate degree programs that pay really well. Okay, we're going to move on. These are the different types of college financial aid that you should know about. Okay. Most students know about scholarships, but they really don't know how many different types of scholarships there are, like academic, financial need-based, state-sponsored, like Bright Futures, Mary McLeod Bethune, Jose Marti, scholarships that are attached to a specific major. Some scholarships are open only to freshmen, and then some are not open until the student gets an associate degree and is in upper division. Okay. What you should know is students ought to be applying for scholarships every year that they're in college, because some of them, like in my case, I didn't receive a scholarship at the University of Florida until I was a senior, but I at least applied every year. And by the time I got to be a senior, I was eligible for several of them. So you want to apply every year. If you are a first generation college going student, you should know there's scholarships for students who are the first generation going to college and both parents never earned a bachelor's degree. Okay. And then you should know there's housing scholarships. There's scholarships from corporations and nonprofit organizations like the Education Foundation of Alachua County. So you want to familiarize yourself with as many scholarship opportunities as possible. And then you want to know that the other form of free money is called grants. And the way that you apply for grants is you complete a FAFSA application, federal financial aid application. That is the application that's required for you to be considered for a Pell Grant. And when you complete the Florida Student Assistance, Florida Financial Aid application, you can also be considered for grants like the Florida Student Assistance Grant. The other thing is once you complete the financial aid applications, particularly the FAFSA is going to ask you a question about whether you're interested in college work study. I encourage every student to answer yes to that. That doesn't lock you in to having to do college work study. But the advantage of college work study, if you decide that you want that, is that it provides you with a regular income for a very easy 15-hour-a-week job on campus. So it's certainly a very good consideration for students to look into. And if you're interested in college work study, once you complete the FAFSA and you're calling the financial aid office at the college to make sure they've received it, you also want to let them know that you're interested in college work study, because college work study is generally a first come, first serve type of program. So you certainly want your name to be put on the list for that if you're interested in it. Then one of the ones that students and parents generally don't know about is corporate tuition and reimbursement programs. My son, when he graduated from college, went to work as part of the business team at Apple in Orlando. And that's when he found out for the first time that Apple provides up to $5,000 a year in tuition reimbursement to employees that work for them 15 hours or more a week. And, since that time, I've looked over lots of other companies and many of them are listed here. But, an example, I helped a student last spring who's worked at Publix for a year, and he's going to receive $2,000 in a corporate tuition assistance program through Publix. So I want you to know, if you're working anywhere, you should ask if the company provides tuition assistance or reimbursement. The apprenticeship programs, if you're somebody that's going to leave high school and you're really interested in getting a good paying job and being trained at the same time, then you may want to consider enrolling at some place like Santa Fe College and looking into the apprenticeship programs there. That most of those apprenticeship programs will pay you enough money to get by on as you're going to class, and you'll be going to classes typically 2 nights a week. But it's programs like the electrician construction program, heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, plumbing, anything in the construction industry at all. So if you're going to leave college and you're interested in making money right away while you're training, most of the classes are offered 2 nights a week. That's a good route to go. If you're a younger student and your parents are interested in looking into prepaid college funds, you might want to look into the Florida Prepaid College Plan. That's a way of saving money for college over a course of a few years. One of the ways that also gets funded is if a student applies for the Take Stock in Children program through the Education Foundation of Alachua County during 7th, 8th, 9th grade mostly, and they do well in high school, at the end, they're going to be offered a 2-year Take Stock in Children scholarship, which is a Florida prepaid college plan. The last thing I just want to mention about types of financial aid is many times students wind up having to get into borrowing money that they'll have to pay back, called loans. And if you have to borrow money to go to college, it's very, very important that you try and borrow what's called subsidized loans. Subsidized means that the federal government pays the interest on the loan while you're in college. And that can save you thousands of dollars over the course of 4 or 5 or 6 years. So it's important, if you're thinking about loans, remember the word subsidized. Okay, we'll move on. The primary sources of college financial aid for Alachua County seniors, the number one source of financial aid, in case you don't know, is completing the FAFSA. Over 50% of our students qualify for full Pell Grant money in Alachua County. It is also used by almost every college and university in the country to assess financial need for the student and the family. So that is really one of the most important applications that can be completed. And this year, because it's being revised and updated, it will be opening probably mid-December or the 1st of January. Again, as soon as it opens, you want to get online and complete it. I'm going to be talking in a minute about what you need to do to be ready to complete it when it opens up. The second primary source for Alachua County seniors is the Florida Financial Aid application. Again, that's tied to Bright Future scholarships, Mary McLeod Bethune, Jose Marti scholarships, some student grant money. So that you want to make sure, particularly beginning the 1st of October, it opens up. You want to get online and create an account. Other than that, I will say the primary source locally for scholarships is Santa Fe College. Santa Fe College provides well over $1 million in scholarship assistance to Alachua County and Bradford County high school graduates. So I tell everybody the most affordable college to go to just about anywhere, and particularly for Alachua County students, is Santa Fe College. Most of their scholarships open on November 1st online. One of the ones that you should absolutely complete is the Santa Fe Foundation Scholarship, and also the Santa Fe General Scholarship application. You also should, if you're thinking about going to Santa Fe, or it's even a possibility, you should go online and complete the Santa Fe Achieve Program application. Doing that and working with the Santa Fe Achieve specialist at your high school is likely to generate $400 a semester for books if you attend Santa Fe College. That's a $2,000 gift for students if they attend Santa Fe. And the Santa Fe Achieve specialists provide lots of support. They can help you with financial aid applications across the board. And then the last one that's on here is the Santa Fe College Achieve program. If you are a first-generation college-going student and you're interested in going to Santa Fe, that's a very good application to complete and to consider. Basically, what that does is it allows you to take a course on Zoom in the summertime called College Success Skills, and be partnered up with an advisor at Santa Fe who will help you through the whole process of becoming familiar with college and taking the steps necessary to move right through the program that you're interested in there. Okay, we're going to move on. This is just a list of local scholarships. I've talked about the Santa Fe ones already, but I do want you to know that during the first week of January, the Education Foundation of Alachua County provides senior scholarships to Alachua County seniors who apply. And those seniors got last year, they gave $130,000 away to local seniors. 66 seniors received a scholarship through that route. The other scholarship I'd like to mention to you is if you live in one of the rural areas of Alachua County, High Springs, Alachua, Archer, Hawthorne, Waldo, any of those areas, you are probably a Clay Electric customer. And Clay Electric has a scholarship called the Youth Scholarship that if you're looking, again, for corporate assistance, that's one of the ways of getting it. If you have a bank account with the Florida Credit Union, or you go anytime and open one up, then you're eligible to apply for one of their scholarships. And again, there's Clay Electric and theirs typically opens in January, just to give you a guideline. And then the last scholarship that I've got listed here is called the Southern Scholarship Foundation. That is an outstanding scholarship for paying for room and board and living expenses. It is a scholarship that would put you in a housing situation in Gainesville, Tallahassee, or Fort Myers. And it generally would cut the cost of housing and food and expenses at least in half to what they would normally be. So it's important that that you consider looking at that as well. Okay, we're going to move on. These are, and I'm putting this up. If you're a high school junior or senior, it is really important if you're going to apply for scholarships at Santa Fe or through the Education Foundation of Alachua County that you familiarize yourself with their essay prompts and take some time before the essay scholarship applications open up to actually draft an essay, so that when you're doing the application, you can just upload the essay and submit it. Let's move on to the next slide. Probably one of the other main scholarship programs I want students to be aware of, it's called the Questbridge National College Match Scholarship Program. It is a program put out by College Board to help students who live in low-income families who have excelled academically and want to apply to the nation's best colleges, but typically are hesitant because they do not have the finances to do it. I helped a student from Waldo, Florida 2 years ago complete this Questbridge application. And the great news is she got a full ride to Notre Dame. So if you're interested in one of the truly elite colleges, but you don't think you have the money for it, you want to look into the Questbridge National College Match Scholarship Program. Please be aware that it opens late summer and it closes the last week of September. So it's, you really have about a 6-week window to complete it and apply if you're interested in that. Okay, we're going to move on. This is just a list of scholarship search engines. The Going Merry link is attached to just about every Alachua County high school website, but you should know there's other scholarship search engines that you can go to and look for to see what you're eligible for in terms of, both state and national scholarship money. I'm going to move forward. About 30 years ago, I was actually a scholarship reader for the University of Florida. I did that because I was interested in helping the students at the high school I was working at know really what do scholarship readers look for. For the last 30 years, I've also been a scholarship reader for the Education Foundation of Alachua County. So as you are writing your scholarship essays, these are some things that truly should be in the essays you're writing for the person that's going to be making a decision about whether or not you meet the eligibility requirements for the scholarship. The first is some statement about college readiness. If you have taken college credit courses in high school, gotten decent grades, if you've got a high school GPA, weighted and unweighted, if you have college ready test scores on the SAT or ACT, that information ought to be provided to the scholarship reader. One of the students I helped from high school a few years ago was leaving high school with actually 18 college credits. And I can say that and the GPA and the test score really would be a seller for anybody that's a scholarship reader. The other thing scholarship readers look at is the community and public service that a student has done while they're in high school. They also look at the school leadership activities and awards that the student has received. There should be a financial need statement in just about every essay that's written. When readers notice that there's a financial need and that the scholarship may help make college possible, that's an important factor for most people doing reading. The other is, if you know your college major, one of the important things you can do while you're in high school is to try and do your volunteer community service or work experience in some area related to that major or career that you want to do. 5 years ago, I helped a student at Gainesville High School who had gone through the health sciences program. And one part of my advice is for her to do her community public service in the health professions. So what she did is she actually did 150 hours of community service at the pediatric unit at Shands. Between her high school experience and that community activity related to her major, she got a full ride to the University of North Florida registered nursing program. Okay. Another student that I helped from Eastside who was interested in majoring in law spent most of her years in high school on the teen court in Alachua County as a volunteer. As a result, she learned a tremendous amount about the law and the judicial system. When she wrote her essay, it was very obvious that she should be given priority. And the good news for her is she got admitted to Princeton because of that. Okay. So that's essay stuff that people look at. The other is, if you're a first generation college going student, you should put that in there. A lot of readers really want to help students who are brand new to the college setting have that opportunity. And then probably the last thing that scholarship readers look at is your letter of recommendation. A strong letter of recommendation really can help you, get a good score from a scholarship reader. And the best way to get a good letter of recommendation, and we'll be talking about it in a minute, is if you develop a really good educational resume and you give it to the teacher, the counselor, the administrator, or the community leader that you've asked to write you a letter of recommendation, they're going to be able to write you a stronger letter. So it's important when you're going through this process that you go, before you're writing your essays, that you come back and you look at this criteria, because this is really what almost every scholarship reader is looking for. Okay, we're going to go on to the next slide. This is a sample educational resume. Again, if you email me, I am happy to send you a copy of this educational resume sample and a template so that you can look at this and create your own educational resume. But this educational resume actually got a student into the University of North Florida with a full ride. So, but this is the kind of information that should be included on an educational resume. We're going to move on. Okay. One of the most important things, particularly if you are a high school senior right now, is that during the month of September or early October, that you go online, type in Federal Student Aid ID. What's going to come up is a website that says create an account, and you're going to click on that. The Federal Student Aid ID and password is required for you to be able to log in to the FAFSA for federal financial aid. So this is really the first step. Both the student and the parent each need to create an FSA ID and password. And when you're doing this, one of the most important things is that you have information like your full legal name, social security number, date of birth, that you have a cell phone in your hand, because they're going to send you a security code, that you are telling them your a personal email address, so that you'll get emailed, so that your email will work with a security code as well. This is very important for seniors to do as soon as possible. This year in particular, it has to be done at least 3 days prior to you completing and logging in to complete the FAFSA. So if you can do it right now, that's the best time to do it. Okay, let's move on. When you complete a free application for federal student aid, which this year is going to be December or early January, next year it will open up again October 1st. So if you're a senior completing it this year, you're going to want to do an update next year, October 1st, or in the month of October. If you are a junior right now, this is going to change to being open October 1st next year. Okay, it's going to return to October 1st. What I want you to know is, again, over half the students in Alachua County, because of family income, qualify for a full Pell Grant. A full Pell Grant now, it's $7,390 a year. And so you could be receiving that every year that you are in college, as long as you are updating your FAFSA every year. Just to give you an idea of what that dollar amount means, if you go to Santa Fe College, that will pay for tuition and fees, and it will leave about $3,000 in your pocket. If you go to a public state university, then it pretty much pays for tuition and fees at those colleges. The other thing with completing a FAFSA is, again, it's going to ask you about college work study. I recommend that you answer yes to that. If you decide afterwards you're not interested, that's fine. But if you don't answer yes on your FAFSA form, then you won't be considered for college work study. Then another reminder is, if you have to get into the loan business, when you complete the FAFSA, it's going to tell you what you're eligible for. what you really are wanting to make sure, if you have to get into the loan business, is that you do subsidized loans, because again, the government's going to pay the interest on the loan while you're in college. Okay. You should also know the importance of completing the FAFSA is that almost every college and university uses the income information from the FAFSA to assess what your financial need is as a student. So again, this is one of the most important forms that every student going to college ought to complete. Okay, let's move forward. To complete the FAFSA, this is the parent information that's necessary. Social Security number, date of birth, email address. If the parent and the student are non-citizens, then the parent would also need to have what's called an alien registration number, which is found typically on a permanent residence card or a green card. It's also going to ask the date that the parents were married or divorced, if they were married. So again, it's important to have that date. It's going to require that you have or are able to download a copy of your 1040 tax form. It's going to ask you to estimate how much money the parents have in the bank account after the bills are paid each month. So you should have an idea of how much generally is in a bank account that you have. If you have investments, it's going to ask a question about the investments that the parents have. And then it's important that if the parent has a cell phone, that information is provided as well. Okay, we're going to move on. This is the information that students have to complete the FAFSA. Again, it's similar in some ways to the parent. Social Security number, date of birth, email address. If the student is a non-citizen, it's going to request an alien registration number. If the student meets the criteria as a permanent resident non-citizen, they will have an alien registration number, and that qualifies them for both federal and state aid. Okay. If the student has worked and they file the 1040 tax form, they're going to want to include that information. If they didn't file, and most students who work, at least in high school, don't make enough money and typically don't file, you still have to have a copy of your W-2 form. So you want to know that. Students also are going to be asked for their driver's license number if the student has one, and for cell phone information if the student has one. Okay, we're going to move on. The FAFSA should be updated every year, preferably in October. And this is basically the information. You need to have your federal student aid ID and password, both student and parent. When you complete the FAFSA, it's also going to ask you to create a save key. My advice is to make that something that's very easy to remember. When I'm doing it with students, and I typically tell them to enter their year of birth as the save key. That way it's something that when they're doing updates is easy for them to remember. And then to update, you're going to need an updated copy of both the parent and the student 1040 tax forms, so that the latest income information is what's being used to consider your financial need. Okay, let's move forward. What you should know when you complete the FAFSA is if you can possibly use the IRS data retrieval tool, you want to do that, because that prevents you, for the most part, of being audited for verification. What happens with that is when you're using the IRS data retrieval tool, it downloads information about your tax return directly from the IRS website onto your FAFSA form. and that shows that the information is accurate. If for some reason that doesn't work and you have to enter information, please be aware that you could get audited for verification. So you want to have a copy of an IRS tax return transcript in case you're audited for verification. Okay, let's move forward. If you type in Florida financial aid application, and if you're a senior, you should be doing this immediately after October 1st. This is actually the screen that will come up that you'll be looking at. You're a first-time applicant, so what you'll be doing is clicking on Create a Student Account. And when you complete the Florida financial aid application, just so you know, you're applying for everything that's listed over here under state scholarships and grants. So there's a lot of opportunity to gather money from the state by doing this. You should know that there's actually 2 parts to this application. So once you finish the first part and click on Submit, another screen is going to come up with a link in the right-hand corner, and you need to click on that link as well and finish the second half of the application. Then make sure that it gets submitted. I would check with the Office of Student Financial Assistance in Tallahassee to make sure that they've received it. At the end of your senior year, your final transcript has to be sent by your school counseling office to the Florida Office of Student Financial Assistance before you can be considered for any of these scholarships or grants. Okay, we're going to move on. Just in case you don't know, these are the requirements for a Bright Future Scholarship. There are 2 different ones. There's the Florida Academic Scholarship and there's the Florida Medallion Scholarship. So if you are interested in certainly trying to be eligible for the Bright Future Scholarship, then you need to know what the weighted GPA is that's required, and you have to know what the test scores are, SAT and ACT, and you have to know how many community service hours you need to have in order to be eligible. It is really important, if you really meet the GPA and test score requirements, that you make sure that you complete the volunteer service hours as early as you possibly can. Last year, the law actually changed, and it now includes students who actually work can use their work hours to qualify as well. So again, it's important to familiarize with this, particularly if you have a good GPA and a good test score. And let's move on. Probably the final thing that I'm going to say to you all is, once you complete a free application for federal student aid and submit it, you should, about 7 to 10 days after it's submitted, contact the financial aid office at the colleges that you're planning to attend and make sure that they've received your FAFSA application. At the end of the school year after you graduate, you'll also want to check to make sure the financial aid office, the school or college you're planning to attend, has received your Florida financial aid information as well. So my suggestion to you is, certainly after you complete the FAFSA, call the financial aid office and check to make sure they've received it. I would say in the spring and then early in the summer, you also want to check to make sure that it's been received and that you've been awarded money. Okay. If you're going to Santa Fe, one of the ways to check whether you've been awarded money can be done online by going to the East Santa Fe link. So most colleges have a version of checking it online as well. Okay, let's move on to the next. This is all this is here is the dates this year that the ACT and SAT tests are going to be administered. If you're a high school junior, it's really important for you to look at these dates and make sure that you take both the ACT and that you prep first, but that you are prepared to take the ACT and SAT tests, hopefully the second semester of your junior year. If you're a high school senior and you need to take it for the first time or retake it, you really want to try and take the test as soon as you possibly can, both of them. Okay, let's move forward. This just gives you the next few slides we're going to go through quick, but gives you an idea, particularly if you are a high school junior and planning ahead, or a high school senior. These are some things that that you really should be doing in August and September. You should be looking over the state university system matrix just to familiarize yourself with the GPA and test scores that have been used for first time and college applicants. You should gather parent and student income information so that when you get to the point of having to do the FAFSA, you're ready to go. You should do everything you can to complete as many community service volunteer hours as you can, particularly during your junior year, but certainly try and get most of them done before the end of the first semester of your senior year. Do you want to move on? It's also important to apply for admission in the month of September to any of the colleges that you're interested in going to. Please be aware that there are colleges like Santa Fe College that are open admissions, which means they accept all high school graduates. And again, they provide a lot of opportunities for financial support. So I tell people one of the most affordable colleges and one of the best colleges to apply to is Santa Fe College. Also, in August and September, you want to complete an educational resume because most scholarship essays require that you submit one, but it also is what you want to give to the person who is going to write you a letter of recommendation so that they really have the best information possible about you. You want to research college and university scholarship opportunities during August, September, and probably October, I would say now. And you want to make sure that you get that federal parent and student federal student aid user ID and password completed. Okay, we're going to move on. And then in October, you want to make sure that the federal student aid ID and password is completed, and that you gather information for the FAFSA application, and finally that you complete the Florida financial aid application. You want all those done in October. If you're going to go to Santa Fe, I'd also recommend that you complete the Santa Fe Achieve application online as well. Okay, I'm going to move forward. Okay, I am here to help you in any way that I possibly can help you. Like I said, I've been doing this for 42 years. I am a very good person to contact, particularly if you have any special life circumstance. So if you would like my assistance, please take a moment take a photograph of this with your phone or write down my cell phone number and email. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. And I'm hoping to hear from many of you who took the time to listen to this presentation. Thank you so much for signing into the Parent Academy program.
I'll give everyone a few minutes to write down your contact information before I stop sharing the screen. Okay, thank you, Mr. Goodman. I appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
I see that we do have a couple of questions, even though we end at 7, but I want to make sure that we answer them, if that's okay with you.
Yes, that's great.
Okay. All right. And are you able to see them as well?
I don't see it right at the moment.
Okay, so just go down to your Q&A
Um,
down at the bottom of your screen.
okay.
Are you able to see it now?
Yeah, it's basically, for the most part, almost every the best thing that a student can do and a parent can do is to make sure that the transcript is sent to the admissions office. Okay, lots of schools, for the most part, use different systems for the looking at GPA and test scores and those things. I would still recommend that you contact the college admissions office and see what their priority is for your high school senior. Like I said, most of the time they're going to want a copy of the transcript with the courses, the GPA, and the test scores. The second is that do both parents need to create an FSA ID? The answer to that is no. But the parent whose FAFSA information is going to get put on the FAFSA application is the one that should complete the FSA ID. So if the student lives in a household where there's only one income and that parent income is what's going to get put on the FAFSA, that's the parent who should be completing the FSA ID and password.
Thank you. So I don't see any additional questions at the moment. And I probably would just say, if you all do have questions for Mr. Bill, you're definitely welcome to reach out to him. He is a fantastic help for our Alachua County parents and students. So please don't hesitate. No question is a crazy question, because I even was asking him questions before we even got started tonight about financial aid, because I am a parent as well. And so just please feel free to reach out to him to get those questions answered. Now, I do see someone with their hand raised. If you have a question, you can go ahead and type it in. We won't hold you guys much longer because we usually end at 7. So I know you guys have been on here and to receive all of the information that he's provided. So thank you for hanging out with us past our time. We definitely appreciate you. Okay, I think that your hand is gone down now. So maybe you did answer her question.
If I can answer an email or a phone call or a text, if you give me a phone call, just please leave a message so I can call you back. But the most important thing is that all this paperwork is done right, that it's done accurately. So again, if you have any questions, if you'd like for me to meet with you, I meet a lot with high school seniors and parents, many times at the school, probably more times at public libraries. But I'm happy to do that because one of my greatest joys is opening the door to opportunity for young people. And if you give me that privilege, I can tell you it makes my day. So please feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
All right, and so I don't see any additional questions at this time, so I'll go ahead and close us out for this evening.
Okay.
So thank you so much again, Mr. Bill, for joining us. And I would like to thank everyone else for joining us tonight for our Zoom. And we appreciate you. Each week you are able to connect with us for more informative presentations and discussions. Once again, I am Tina Folston Hayes, the Parent Academy Specialist for Educational Equity and Outreach for Alachua County Public Schools. Next week, we will be back again on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And I would love to see you back. I believe it's going to be the Cook Foundation, and they'll be talking with us about some mental health. And the topic I am not quite sure about, but it will be posted just like this one is. So you'll be able to see what is in store for you for next Thursday. Again, thank you and have a wonderful evening. Bye, Mr. Bill.
All right. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Welcome. Yes, sir.